So what is the best SD card? I'm assuming since you're watching this, you're not going to be content buying the cheapest thing on the shelf and calling it a day. Shopping around for SD cards can be kind of confusing. There are all these numbers and symbols peppered on them in the packaging, and well, it's not exactly clear what they mean. And you can't always trust the marketing. They'll promise things like 90 megabytes per second or 150 megabytes per second, maybe even 300 megabytes per second. But that's bullshit. And the thing is, that's almost always a read speed. And I don't know about you, but I didn't buy my camera to read. Where that read speed is relevant is when you're downloading the images from the SD card. The numbers you really want to be paying attention to are the write speeds. There's the maximum write speed and the minimum sustained write speed. On some higher performing cards, you'll see write speed stated as high as nearly 300 megabytes per second. Here's the thing, that's not sustained. That's more for short bursts. The frame rates and file sizes of today's cameras can be very demanding, and the video recording options get more advanced. We have high frame rates for slow motion, high bitrate recording, 4K and even higher resolutions, and a higher speed card will help you leverage all of those features. That maximum write speed will help you in situations where you're shooting bursts of stills. Maybe it's wildlife or an event. For example, maybe you're photographing a basketball game and there's action under the goal. Somebody takes the game-winning shot. Then you want to get the reaction of the winning team and the losing team on the benches and then in the stands. And that can easily be 30, 40, 50 shots in just a few seconds. And it doesn't matter how fast your camera's buffer is if your SD card is a bottleneck. And that is where the maximum write speed will help the most. As far as video, most SD cards are going to be fine for just 1080 recording. But if you're looking at high frame rates, 4K resolution, 400 megabit per second video recording, you're going to want a card that can handle that kind of demand. And that is where the minimum sustained write speed becomes important. I'm going to cut to the chase. You really should get more capacity than you think you need. The speed does matter, and there is a lot of marketing hype to cut through. And what about these tough cards some manufacturers are making? Don't waste your money. There are people who've run their SD cards through the washer and dryer cycles. The images still came out just fine. Don't wash and dry your SD cards. Good quality SD cards are expensive, but you really want to match it to the performance of the camera that you have. And there's some pretty comprehensive websites that have done a lot of testing. I'm going to link one down below. So back to the SD card that I use, the SanDisk Extreme Pro. It is a UHS 2 card. It's got the second row of pins. It has a 300 megabyte per second read speed, a 260 megabyte per second maximum write speed, and a minimum write speed of 30 megabytes per second, which covers all of my needs for stills and video. Unlike some other manufacturers' cards, the SanDisk has never let me down. And if you're really interested in deciphering these numbers and symbols, I'll link below to another website that explains all of that in detail.